Hey everybody, this is James from Chicago Free City. I'm here with Kyle from Detroit,
Hey everybody, how are you?
founder of the Explorer series. And today we are here to talk about the Precon Shuffle event format. So, what are we going to cover in this video? Number one, we're going to have Kyle break down the Precon Shuffle format, which he just ran at an Explorer series event in Detroit. Number two, we're just going to share experiences of like what, it was really fun. So we just wanted a chance to talk about what we enjoyed about it, and also kind of what worked about the format and what could be improved as Kyle and maybe you even decide to pick this up, what you can improve moving forward for your own community. This is part of a collaboration with Golden Eagle Cards, who received all of the round by round player data right from this format. Look for the link in the description and check out his video as well. And this is a video for sorcery community organizers. So Kyle and I, we've both been organizing in-person sorcery events for over 2 years, almost 3 years. And we actually, the first time we met was when Kyle and the Detroit players drove all the way over to Chicago for our annual event, the first time that we held it. And actually, to me, I don't know if we talked about this ever, but that was basically, to me, that's like one of the major sparks of what would become the Explorer series. Like that
Absolutely.
feeling we got of like, oh shit, there's a whole car of people who just drove 5 hours
Absolutely.
to play sorcery with us. And yeah, it's something that has directly translated to what we're doing with the circuit. Um, and one thing we've learned doing this work of organizing sorcery communities, we are not LGS owners. We are people who manage these events in collaboration with store owners and other venues. And we've learned that you can create some really great memories as sorcery players if you run events that vary the format, that give people something different, that isn't just like, well, set came out 6 months ago. What are we doing? Do we want to do another 3 rounds of constructed?
Right.
So we both, with the people we run events with locally, and make that happen. Do different limited events. We do leagues. We do a lot of different things. And this is an idea that Kyle came up with that we just enjoyed so much. We wanted to bring it to you.
Awesome. So at this point, I think you would like me very much to talk about what the format was. Am I right on
Yes.
that?
Yeah, that was a bit of a preview just to make sure people know what's going on. But it's just breaking down the format and talking about what's working, what can be improved. So what is the Precon Shuffle for someone who's never heard of this?
So, in a nutshell, it is an event I designed that does not require a player to come to an event with a playmat or with a deck. So, I wanted the best of constructed and the best of concealed, or concealed, nice, the best
Best
of
up and
sealed,
concealed. You heard it
or
first,
right,
folks.
not
Stand your
concealed
ground.
carry,
Kyle,
not
stand your
concealed
ground.
carry, right? But no, the best of a sealed environment or a limited environment. Right. So you could come, not have to worry about building a deck, spending the money on a deck, or bringing a thing. You could just show up and be able to play with just your friends and a car. Right. Uh, and then I got the idea for it. I'm like, how can we have the most fun with the least amount of cards in a space without anybody buying anything? I thought, well, precons are fun. We never really get to play with the precons. We always use it as a gateway drug to people to get them into sorcery, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, try Harbinger out. Hey, try Wave Shaper out. And then the vibe goes away once people start building constructed decks. So what I did was create 3 of each precon to put in a box and have people be able to play them. So a 32 or 36 maximum person event. And then everybody would select at the beginning of the event one deck from a pool of those decks. So there were 3 of each alpha precon, 3 of each beta precon, and then 3 of each Gothic precon. And then we drafted, like, if you've ever done any kind of fantasy football or
Mm-hmm.
some kind of fantasy draft, you would randomly select who's picking first and who's picking last. And then everybody would come up in order, pick their deck. And once everybody's made their selection, if you're at the end, you got stuck with Avatar of Water or Savior, or whatever you deem to be the worst possible deck. Uh,
So
and we would pair. Once everybody paired, it could be AOW versus AOW, Savior versus Necro. It could be any kind of pairing you can imagine within those 12 sets of decks, right? So because there's 3 candidates, AOE can play AOE, Geo can play AOE, etc. Once the
yes.
round was, go ahead.
So just to recap here, it's you're running a Swiss format.
It is a
and you
Swiss
just you
format.
scale up the number of rounds to however many players you're getting.
Correct.
And before each round starts, essentially you have a draft that goes from one player at a time. They go up and see what precons are available, and they have to commit to one for that round. They don't
For
know who
that
their
round.
opponent's going to be. They're not going to get to play this precon ever again for the rest of the tournament.
Also true.
Yeah.
Yep, I was absolutely getting that. So once you selected that deck, or as you're selecting that, you knew that you were not going to be able to play it again. So maybe you're like, hey, Avatar of Fire is the best deck to play. And so maybe I save that for later or take it down and get my win in, right? But you don't know what you're going to play against or who you're going to play against. So that's half of the fun of it. The RNG's in the probability of your pairing. Um, After that round, everybody returns their decks to the table, to the pool, and we reselect, starting with the person who's seated last, going up to the person who's seated first. So in theory, the person who had the best record picks Avatar of Water because that's what they have left. And then you do that for however many rounds it scales to the number of players. And then at the end of Swiss, I gave 5th through 12th their choice of a pre-con deck from Beta or Gothic in order of seeding. And then the final 4 played 2 more rounds, bracket style, to see who got their choice of the alpha sealed precons. And it was all very thematic. I wanted to do an entire precon event contained in a box. So that was the general idea.
Yeah, one thing I really like about the way that you just introduced that was this idea of we teach so many people to play sorcery with precons. I've taught hundreds, not hundreds. I've taught like over 100,
A lot.
over 100 people through learner plays at Gen Con, wherever it may be, and then through the store. Just like we always just give people a precon, and then walk them through a game, right? And that's where you see the gnarliest shit.
You really
In
do.
sorcery, and the games that are just like, when does that ever happen in constructed? It never happens. Even in limited, it never happens. And that combination of like people who don't exactly know what they're doing, but then have access to these really swingy decks.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't know what there's no right thing to do. And so 2 things I really liked about that at the event were like, or the 2 things that I noticed, right, was that you could have very different experience levels very easily.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not necessarily skill expression is a real thing. I mean, that's obvious if you're doing tournament, especially. But like, it's very open, right? For people who
Absolutely.
are just learning, and then for the people who are returning, a lot of the experienced players are like, I totally forgot what's in this deck. Like, oh,
100%.
that's
Because
in
you
this
haven't played
deck.
it in a year.
Yeah, and I thought it was so funny that by the time you got to the final bracket, it was intense because you get that like intense, grindy, weird stuff that happens with the precons, but also by that point you've got the best players pretty much.
Yep.
Variants notwithstanding, but like you think, oh, let's do a precon event. It's going to be like very samey. The games are going to be very very constrained and like. It won't feel like you're in a top tier event, but like that was not at all what
That isn't how it came off at all. Like, I believe that all 32 players had some of the best games they've ever had in however much time they've been playing sorcery. Like, everybody was genuinely having a good time going, oh wow, that's a thing I just did.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I think I heard you talk about, so I raised a sunken treasure up.
Oh
Amazing.
my god. Yeah, so yeah, this was my favorite moment of the day. Like my number 1 favorite moment was in my own game. So I had to go Avatar of Water in the second round. It was only 1 left, so I pick it, and I'm just expecting, okay, I'm going to lose this game, right? Playing against Savior, and I was just saying to Dawn, who's my opponent, really good sorcery player. I was like, Don, I hate this deck so much. Like, this is my hand had a sunken treasure and a dodge roll. And then I was like, my only hope is if I have to use both of these cards to ever claw my way back. And on the next turn, I basically did a fake out where I had Deep Sea Mermaids on top as a blocker. And he was like, I'm going to attack Deep Sea Mermaids. And I just yelled out, dodge roll, baby!
That's amazing.
The only dodge roll I've ever played in my life. Pulled it off, bought myself a turn, and then it ended up being that I was down 4-18 for many turns, and I just managed to stall out, get the sunken treasure, and then come back and win.
That's crazy.
It was
That's
just
an
insane.
awesome story.
Um, yeah, what was your top moment for the day?
So my top moment was, I guess, as a judge as opposed to as a player. I played in my own event. I wanted to make sure that nobody was left without a player. So when we ended up with 31, I went ahead and put myself in at the behest of everybody else. I
Yep.
gave them the option to say, "Hey, no, stay out, buddy." Honestly, probably could have, just because it was a lot to run at that time. But that's another story. My best moment was I got called over to a match to ask, and we asked what the interaction was for Megamoeba and Dodge Roll. I'm like, okay, so just so I understand, Megamoeba's being attacked, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. And you played Dodge Roll, correct? Yes. I'm like, I have not looked this up ever because nobody expected to see Megamoeba and Dodge Roll, but I'm reasonably certain your Megamoeba will still be there
Uh-huh.
and it will
Uh-huh.
grow. It's, of course, the first fact in the Codex, but it was amazing because he's like, oh, well, maybe I didn't want to attack. I'm like, here's the plus side. Your Megamoeba just got bigger by one. So, right? I
Yeah.
mean, maybe you
Yeah.
killed the thing that just ran into it, but a Megamoeba evading an attack to grow big felt just so awesome. You never see that. When are you going to see that again? It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That said, that's not my favorite moment of the entire day. My favorite moment of the entire day was absolutely recognizing my local helpful Hob and what she's done for the entire community of my local players and seeing the joy in her face when we went, "You're the best." Like, Emily is by far and above one of our best energy people in the game. She's always out there cooking for people, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's great to have a sold out event, but like, this is part of the Explorer series. If you haven't, heard of this, exploresorcery.com. This is the Midwestern based circuit of monthly events that Cal and I helped to put on. And it's these are all people we've played sorcery with at some other point. There's always a mix of people.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, okay, I've seen you 5 or 6 times by now on these little road trips or at the big events, and then there's always new people, and um, it's it just gets right to the heart, right, of like
The connection of it.
there's a lot of one of the reasons we're making this video is because there's the high proportion of YouTube videos about sorcery are focused on gameplay, competitive play, brews, and top tier events. But like the I would say more baseline experience of what sorcery is and why the game can continue is locals. And
Absolutely.
the Explorer series and this kind of event is meant to like if you're a local organizer, right, we need to be coming up with ways that keep the game fresh. And
Keep people
also,
having fun.
yeah, yeah, hopefully finding those people to collaborate with, whether they're one town over or like on the next state over or whatever, in town for a trip, a work trip, so that a lot of the fun of it isn't just like going and trying to win yet again, but it's like, well, wow, I don't remember what it was like to play with Emily. Like,
Right.
I forgot for a second, but this is awesome, and having the
It's
chance to do that.
amazing. Love playing against her. Watching you and Dawn play too is crazy fun. Like, you guys look like
Oh
you're
yeah,
enjoying having the time of your life.
the
I
last
love
time we
that.
played was in round 3 at SorceryCon, which was super intense, and this was needlessly also intense, but it's just like hilarious. And so, okay, so one question I have for you is, I mean, obviously we love these things about the format. I mean, what's the number one thing for you that just like I guess from an event perspective, like just worked that you felt like we nailed it? What was the best thing for you?
For me, the thing that really popped off was the simplicity of the list. And I can't describe that in any other set of words.
Hmm.
The fact that I didn't have to hand out packs and worry about people opening packs in the draft in that
Hmm.
three-hand zone, or the sealed and add an extra hour for deck building, or the simplicity of people bringing cards in and out of the thing. One of the things I was worried about that actually ended up being an added bonus to the event was I asked people to pack light and travel light for the event
Yep.
because of space. And it turned out that, and again, this is super casual. The vibe I want to have is super casual and not super sweaty. But I always worry that there's going to be a bad apple, if you will, that brings a card into a game that shouldn't be there, for limited specifically. This event, you can't do that. It's like constructed, except I'm providing the decks.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of like a constructed cube,
yeah,
in a way, and we love cube in Chicago, and that is also a similarly. It still has the time requirements of like drafting and stuff, but it's simplicity wise, you just show up
yeah,
and then you're there.
Yeah.
And we held a draft, yeah, and drafting, dealing with product, dealing with also if you're coordinating with your store, the prices, the ticket, like all this stuff just kind of went away. So I actually have the exact same answer. Just like I, I got there from Chicago, so it was a whole weekend trip for me, and just knowing that I was like, I just have to show up,
Yeah.
and then it's
Right.
there. I can just lock in and just enjoy the people. Basically, was a huge deal. Um,
And that's always the thing I want to do when I make an event, especially when I'm pulling out of towners, is I want everybody to maximize the enjoyment of their time is the best way I can say that. Like, I don't want you to just come and go, okay, well, I'm going to sit around and wait to play cards and then sit around and wait to play the next round. I want you to enjoy every second that you're there with me, right? I want you to have fun. I want you to be entertained. And if I'm not providing that for you, I'm doing something wrong.
mhm.
That's how I look at that.
So I guess you're probably going to keep tinkering with the format. Like, what was one thing that you already can tell you would want to work on, or if someone else wants to pick this up, right? You can just give them an advance notice and like, hey, just so you know, think about this or consider this improvement or thing you should have a decision on, right, for your own community.
I think the hardest thing, the one thing I want to change is the time and process for the selection of decks. It's the thing that takes the most time. It's the thing that causes probably the most bottlenecking of the experience of the event. Like, you should probably, I didn't do this, but
Hmm.
I was calling a name, hey, you're up, come get your deck. Okay, you left, we marked the deck down. And I was also trying to collect data for the thing, but
Yeah, yeah,
hey, come get your deck. Okay, next, come get your deck. What I really should have done was lined people up in order of name and said, roll through, roll through, roll
yeah.
through.
These are the glamorous questions of local sorcery
Right,
and rent runners. Um, and yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. If you got 32 people,
right.
and you just and again, we have to draft a new precon. It
Yep.
is a meaningful decision point, right? Some people are being
It really
strategic,
is.
and you have to repeat that 5 times and then go to the top cut. It adds up. Yeah, makes sense.
The other thing I noted in terms of player experience, I think Savior is a complete miss, and having to draft Savior is a complete miss. There,
Yeah,
I mean, unless you're really into the deck theme, it it seems to me hard to win with unless it plays against Savior or Avatar of Water. Uh,
yeah.
Avatar of Water, at least you're playing with an alpha deck. That's
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the deck lists, your mileage may vary, right? I think people may have thought a little too hard about the avatar, not enough about like what cards are actually in this. The Savior deck
right.
list is not super impressive. But I will say my thing that I noticed, and I don't know if this is valid. It's just a piece of feedback, but like how I felt. I felt like every time I went up against an alpha deck, especially the Earth or the Fire, it was just like torture. Because those deck lists have so many uniques. And I want to also clarify that Kyle had made what he calls
Oh,
derpatars, which are just little drawing versions of the alpha avatars. So you don't have to use, your insane expensive. And the
correct.
alpha you can recreate from beta cards. So like this
Correct.
can be accessible.
Yep.
But I think it's an open question for me. Like, and this relates also to when I was teaching people with the alpha decks, print and plays, etc. I would immediately be like, oh, does Earthquake really need to be in the alpha? Like, is this
I mean,
overpowered? Um, so
that's honestly a fair take. I think is the alpha decks. To use your words, were a little bit pushed compared to the rest of the pack. I I haven't figured out how to solve for that. I
yeah,
don't want to change the experience of the pre-con yet, but it's a thing to think about, like
yeah.
changing that list,
Using the
right?
alpha avatars was amazing. I mean, like even Avatar Water, we were talking crap about it, but like I had a lot of fun playing it. It was very meaningful gameplay, decision time, and I don't think we'll see what Bruce says, but the win rate wasn't necessarily flat out, on the lower
No,
ranks. Um, but these are all decisions, if you're watching this and you want to try the precon shuffle, like you can just make those calls, right? You're basically making your own cube of precons to draft. You can modify the precons. You can choose to include more of one or less of one, or remove savior, whatever you want to do.
yeah,
But I did love the experience of playing, getting to play, with and against the alpha avatars, because it's just, yeah, it just makes things interesting. So
It really does. It really brings it out there.
I think this is a pretty good encapsulation of like what the format is, what it had to offer, like why we loved it so much, wanted to share it with everyone. So we can just wrap it here.
Yeah.
Where can people see the literal format? Do you have a place for that yet?
Absolutely. Okay. Actually, I haven't built it up yet, but
2 hours later.
So we'll leave a link in the description to the Explorer Series Discord server. You can find Kyle there. Kyle, what's your Discord handle?
Ra's al Ghul, Rasalghul.
And if you want to attend one of these events where we are encouraging people to do fun, different formats, keep the game fresh while we're waiting for the next set, explore sorcery.com. You can see which of those events are, different kinds of limited or other formats as well as constructed, Old Faithful. We're up there.
Right.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for hosting. It was an amazing event.
Thank you.
Glad
man.
we
I had
got
a
to hang.
blast.
And we'll see you at the next one.
Definitely, brother. Appreciate you.
Peace.
Peace.